Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome to Benefit and Vision, the podcast. We keep it real about life, love, and everything in between. We are your hosts
John.
and Erin.
And around here, we're not afraid to talk about the sweet, the messy, and the truth most people avoid. So sit back and let's relax and let's get into it.
Today we're talking about yeah, they like camera, really.
I blame the camera woman. All right. So today we're talking about um
Why are men and women drifting apart?
and what's causing us to drift apart. You know what I mean? There's a there's a great deal of things that can be said about this particular topic. I think um I think you know I think men feel disrespected, women feel unprotected, and both feel unheard. So, the question is, how did we get
Yeah. Um, I think that just values are just not the same anymore between men and women. People are there's more social media that affects people's point of view about love and relationships and marriage. People don't want to get married, but the realness of it. They want to just it's just like there's a lot of common law going on. There's a lot of uh, if you got you got the money. It's about money. It's about material things. So I think it has a lot to do with values being lost, and
it?
there's the divide.
So you think it's more transactional as
Yeah,
opposed to
I was
yeah.
listening to a video about that today, where a woman was talking about marriage and being transactional, and it always has been transactional. Um, which I agree, but not monetarily in a sense. But it's just that when she was saying something about unconditional love, and there's going to be conditions. There's going to be conditions for when a man is looking for a woman, and vice versa. There's conditions. There
Okay.
are conditions. So, with that being said, I think the concept of that has been taken kind of out of proportion
Mhm.
over time.
So okay, so once we're in love in that space of togetherness, who do you think has a more closely resembling um, um, unconditional love, men or women,
As a what?
more closely resembles unconditional love, men or women,
What you mean by who resembles?
because
It's just taken out of proportion on both ends because it's just a lot to do with women who get into relationships and they uh, have bad experiences and stuff like that. It's like they get tired. Men too.
Mhm.
The relationships that men get into, they're tired. We tired,
uh,
right? Men and women are tired, and so that takes a toll. And it's just like you start to think differently, you start to want differently, and things just kind of go from there. Like if women go through a bunch of bad relationships, they just like, oh, we'll say like stuff like, So I'm gonna start just going out. I'm gonna just be a hoe. Why not? Because men do it. Why not?
And see the double standard with that is bananas. However, I do understand the double standard. And there are double standards all over the man and women plateau, the relationship plateau. If a woman is promiscuous, as they say some men are, you know what? I'll say this.
Men are promiscuous.
I didn't. Hold on, let me finish. I didn't say that they weren't. What I'm saying is one of the main problems I think and is causing the divide is there's some sort of competition. You know what I mean? Whenever something is brought to when a woman is or man is being held accountable for something they do, they say, well, well, a man did it, or women do it all the time, and that doesn't, get anything going with growth. Uh, and that also splits people. That's where a lot of things transpire from the lack of communication, the lack of accountability. Like I'll be watching, I'll be going through these rooms in TikTok, and I see there are a lot of rooms that are either women hating men or men hating women. There's very little conversation about coming together. And I think that has a lot to do with, um, I guess, feminism to a degree, and the patriarchy. I think when it got to where everybody was talking about wanting to be equal, is where the competition started, and that's where the separation started. Um, Now, I'm not to say that men and women aren't equal. They aren't equal in all aspects. I'll say that. I'll say it like that. And what I mean by that is just things that you're far superior at in our marriage than I am, and I'm cool with that. But and there's vice versa. You know what I mean? And I'm better at certain things than you are. The problem is there are some people who don't want to admit or succumb to the fact that you aren't as good in certain areas as your partner, and you're not going to be, and that's what makes the union strong, as opposed to it being competition. You shouldn't see it as competition. You should see it as, okay, well, this is where we can complete each other in this.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that's where a lot of separation starts, and the competition. It's not togetherness. It's a competition now.
Yeah. Um. So let's separate the two. Let's talk about why women are hurting or feeling the way that they are,
Okay.
and why there's a division there, and then we'll go into why
Why?
men
Okay.
are as well.
Well, then I'll concede to you as far as why women hurt.
So one point I can say is feeling women feel emotionally unsupported or unseen. Um, they're carrying a lot of burden, family burden, or whether they're in a relationship, they feel like they have to pick up the pieces in a lot of areas where they're expecting their spouse to. Um, and so they well, women don't also, well, especially in marriage, there's like a lot of women that don't speak up because they just grin and bear it. They just grin and bear it. And that's where the strength comes in, and that's where things just take a toll on them emotionally. Because I can guarantee you, I can attest to this. Um, like a lot of things that I wanted to say before, it's just like I just I'd rather not. Because I know it's gonna start some kind of conflict, and me not being the person who likes conflict, I just kind of let it roll off my back.
I think one of the problems you were having at that time was not necessarily causing conflict, but you didn't like the uncomfortable conversation.
I don't think it was that. I think it was more of, if I say this, it's going to cause a conflict because I know what I want to say. I know exactly how I want to say it. And if I say it that way, it's going to cause a conflict. And that had a lot to do with the way that my delivery was or is or can be. Um, so, so I don't think has to do with uncomfortable conversations necessarily because I'm okay with an uncomfortable conversation. I don't like conflict. I don't like it to cause any argument. I don't like to argue. Um, but uncomfortable conversations is not necessarily what I am afraid of. It's just the conflict part. Just the conflict part. I like deep conversations. We can have a deep conversation and it not be an argument.
Okay. What else? Women well, what the reasons are.
Lack of consistency and commitment from men. That it kind of all boils into one. The having to feeling unsupported, feeling unseen, having to be too strong. Um, it can stem from past traumas, shaping expectation, uh, also social pressure. So
So go into the social pressures. What do you think some of those social pressures are for a woman?
social pressures, it could be all their girlfriends is in their ear, or their parents, or parents, family, friends, just in their ear talking about or trying to give them direction on what to, things to do.
Do you think you succumb to some of that?
I don't think so. You might disagree, but
Yeah, I'm gonna say I beg to differ. You know, but that's a topic for another.
and you know where that's coming from. I'm only saying that because I don't like to listen to nobody.
But there are people whose opinion
So
you
it
value.
probably, huh?
There are people whose opinion you value, though.
Okay.
All right. Well, so why else are women hurting?
Some women aren't angry; they're just exhausted.
I can dig that.
They're just exhausted. Um,
What's causing the exhaustion?
all of those pressures, all of that I just explained, is causes exhaustion.
What is the most?
That's what happened with us. I was exhausted.
I think and I get you were exhausted, but I also think that during, our uh, conundrum and our quagmires, there was a significant lack of communication.
It was.
So I think that when you were feeling that way, I didn't think you really felt that you could communicate with me those
Right.
things, and I will have to hold myself accountable for I'm not making, I guess, not giving you a safe space to feel that. Um, and it's part of growth. You know, uh, so
Here we are.
yeah. Hmm.
And
And
here we
so what else? What else would hurt?
that's all I got, Rick, for that. That's all I got.
Well, I say, why men are hurting. I think one of the things is men are hurting because they feel unappreciated or undervalued. Um, there's a there is a thing that a lot of men go through where they're only told the bad they do as opposed to the good they do as well. Because they can't be all bad. You know what I mean? But they only hear what what the bad is or what they're not doing and what they should be doing as opposed to being seen for what they are and and the work he's putting in to get to where he's trying to go to be able to do that thing that you're asking for him to do. Uh, and that will beat a man to death. Um, Men unalive themselves far more than women, and and it has a great deal of them. It has a great deal with them feeling like they have nobody to turn to. They have nobody to talk to. They have nobody, no way to release these things. They punch holes in walls and act out in the wrong fashion because they feel unappreciated and only valued for provision. They're only as good as what they can provide to to a woman in certain areas, and once he isn't providing the way she feels he should, he's emasculated. He's told he's worth less than what he truly feels he is, and that will destroy him. And it'll cause him to have anger and resentment and unresolved and unhealed issues, especially if he hasn't been able to release what he feels um, in those situations. You and I went through that, and I was telling you, like, yo, I get that. Um, you know, there's things that I need to work on. I get it. What about the things that I have worked on, or the other things that I was doing? And you know those little, babe, I see you doing this. We'll put enough gas in a man's tank to keep him pushing. You know what I mean? That he needs that. Men need that. A lot of men, most men. So that feeling unappreciated, or only valued um with what he can provide is it hurts a lot for a man. I think another reason is fear of vulnerability. And when we were separated, I got a dose of that. Um, I was vulnerable with the wrong person, and it immediately got thrown back in my face. And a lot of women do that to men because they don't know how to handle his vulnerability, because they see him being vulnerable as him being less than or being weak or you know, there are a lot of women who are taught um, that a man is supposed to be able to deal with their emotions, but never taught how to deal with a man's emotions.
Because this might be I'm gonna call you back too. I'm gonna call you back. Sorry, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought it was an emergency.
I didn't think it was an emergency,
It's 10 o'clock after. It's after.
but you know how Coco do. Coco don't care about it. But that was our grandmother.
Sorry about that, y'all.
Yeah. So they're vulnerable. A man takes his vulnerability like y'all um take y'all body. You know, we just like y'all need to know y'all in a safe place to give your body to a man in a safe space, and then he's going to do the right thing by it. That's how men feel about their vulnerability with a woman, because we're naked as well, emotionally naked. And if we can't be naked with the woman that we have chosen to be with, then who the fuck can we be naked with? I used to say all the time, I feel like I'm the only one naked.
I
Um,
saw something on Facebook about a naked marriage. I'll read that after you finish. But I think it summed that up very clearly.
and I think that's a tough go when a man can't be vulnerable with his woman. And if she uses that against him in a situation where she's upset because something isn't going her way or a conversation isn't going her way, and now all of a sudden his vulnerability about him feeling some type of way about whatever the situation was, or something he went through in his past with another woman, or him feeling like less than a man in any situation. If he has come to the woman with that, if she turns it around on him, it's going to shut that man smooth off, and he'll never trust you with his vulnerability again. Just like women will never trust a man with her vulnerability again. I mean, with her body again, if if her physical vulnerability, if she let him smash and he told all his homies. You know what I mean? Or put her on blast or something like that. Do it back in her face. So men take their vulnerability as serious as a woman takes their sanctity of their body. Another thing, reason why I think men are hurting is the lack of respect in relationships. Um, I think that there's a lot of women that don't understand a man values um, respect far more than he values love. Uh, to men, respect is how you show him you love him. And, you know, there's a lot of women that only maneuver in love or in their emotions, and they expect him to be able to feel love in the way they want to give it to him, uh, or in the way they know to be loved, or the way they know how to love. And he values respect over everything. And what I mean by respect, if he says something to you, his word should be taken into account. Just like if he comes to you for counsel on a decision and ultimately decides to make the decision based on what he feels like he needs to do for the team, but he came to you in counsel, and it may not be the way you wanted it to go, but ultimately it's the same uh, results. Uh, it's for the same purpose. Sometimes it gets dicey, especially when a woman is up more used to uh, doing it for herself and having it work in the way that works best for her. If she's not used to working as a team or with somebody else, and you know, so most men, that's a sign of disrespect because hey, I'm over here trying to make sure I'm doing the necessary things needed to for us to move forward. If I'm leading in this direction or I'm leading in my role here, and you are chopping it down because it's not the way you would do it, it can become cantankerous, eh, for lack of a better word, and and nobody wants to be bumping heads with, the woman or man there, and well, with the woman they decided to be with. I think another reason men are hurting is this confusion of modern rules. Like everybody wants to be um, on top. Like I said, it's a competition now. So it's madness because you know there are a significant number of women who believe that what they make monetarily and what their education is matters to a man. It matters to a degree, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a woman, and that's more of what a woman looks for when she's looking for a man. What does he do? What his educational status is? So that's why there are so many women right now, and I ain't mad at black women being educated and being upfront as far as education through any uh, racial metric. Black women are far more educated than everybody else. But that's not. I think that has a lot to do with trying to be ahead of the or in front of the men in certain areas, and that's not what men are looking towards for a woman. It's more of what women looking for towards a man, and like I said, the competition thing kills everything. Um, and everybody says a man should do this or a woman should do that, and I feel like in those roles, I think you do what works for you. You know what I mean? Do what makes y'all's relationship and y'all marriage stronger and make it shape for however it shapes. You and I, uh, shit, sometimes you'll pay the rent a month in advance. And then I'll be like, damn, you pay the rent a month in advance for what? Because I'm like, cool. Now we can do all of these other things because you did that. And then I'll pay you the next month in advance. You know what I mean? Now we're ahead. So, those type of things. It's just however it shakes for you, for whoever it should be. But men are hurting because, you know, a lot of both women and social media and a lot of men have told them what they should be doing or what they should not be doing in their relationships, or you're less than a man if you're not doing this, if you're not making $600,000 a year or $100,000 a year and paying everything, then you are less than a man. And things of that shit is crazy work. Because the truth is, the percentage is so small of people making six figures, and it's even smaller for black men making six figures. And no matter how much women think that they're making as much as men, their numbers are even smaller than that. And if you're small, and if you're a black woman, it's even smaller than that. You know, that's the reality as opposed to, um, you know, what you believe to see on social media.
Mhm.
And another reason why black men or men, period, are hurting is emotional suppression since childhood. I think we were all taught, and I'm sure you were taught, that boys ain't supposed to cry. That boys are supposed to get up and walk it off and be able to take it and take the world on your shoulders. You cry, you a punk, and things of that nature. I'm sure you heard those same things about boys, just like we did. So we now, hearing those things, we have nowhere to go. Hold up, who's that? Somebody's
You
somebody's coming. Oh,
what?
okay.
Finish your thought.
All right. So there is a significant amount of.
Finish your
I'm
thought.
finishing, man.
So
I'm telling you, there's a significant amount of men running around here thinking that they're not supposed to have these emotions, and they're not supposed to be able to show these emotions. And once they show these emotions, that they're less than or they're weaker. And there's been women that have said the same thing to men, or don't know how to handle a man's emotions, or don't know how to accept a man's emotions, because he's not supposed to have those emotions or feel those things. You know what I mean? And so they, when they get to an emotional place where they're overstimulated, they don't want to hit their women, and so they punch walls or do some extra reckless, dumb shit. You know what I mean? And they don't, because they don't know what to do with those emotions, because they were never taught what to do with those
Mhm.
emotions.
Which I get that because even from childhood, boys are if they fall, then their mother or their father is like, "Yo,
What I'm saying?
get up, don't cry." And he said that Sheen said paying the rent in advance is a great strategy. However, devaluing a person's worth is totally different. I agree with that.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because you can be with somebody who's paying financially, taking care of everything financially,
Right.
and that woman doesn't respect them still.
Right. Because they're just looking for a come up. But I would say that some men are on guard, cold, they're guard. I just think they have been through the ring. You know what I mean? Just like some women have been through the ring before, y'all have y'all walls up. All right, so what's causing separation, you think?
So the one concept is that men and women are supposed to uh they're supposed to unite. They're supposed to work together, not be enemies, right?
Hmm.
That's straight from the whole story of Adam and Eve. They were supposed to be helping each other, right? She was created to help Adam,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Uh, not supposed to be enemies. But it's just that over time, men and women started treating each other as enemies. Like one is supposed to be or feels like they're more powerful than the other. Right?
I'll say this. If I think what the issue is that some men misinterpret what being a leader is, and what a woman is supposed to submit to in being your helpmate. And I think that when women hear the
Separate.
word submission, it seems as if it's uh at a servitude. It's in a servitude as opposed to submitting to the mission of growth of your marriage. You know what I mean? And submitting to your role in the growth of the marriage. They see it as a terrible, terrible thing. And I think that some men take that leadership role and use it to become a dictator as opposed to leading from the needs of the team. And you have to be able to lead from the needs of the team in order for everything to work uh, for the good.
Now, see, let's give an example of that because my sisters were here uh, last week, and she and I had a we had a late night, one of our late, a late night conversation, and she even said it out of her mouth. She's like, "We needed to have this talk. I needed to." Uh, what did she say? I like seeing you like this. This this side of you. Like, what side is that? And she said, the submissive wife. I didn't expect her to say that, but she obviously sees something in our marriage. And she even said that it's motivating to her for her marriage. You need glasses. Babe. Let me read.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me read it. It's,
No, finish your thought. Finish your thought first. No, I'll read it.
I did.
Finish your thought.
I did.
Okay,
She
good.
said, I like seeing you like this, submissive wife. But I tell you all the time, which I've told you before, and it only took us 10 years to get here.
Only 10 years.
Only 10 years. We'll be here. If you lead properly, I'm going to submit naturally.
And that's not a lie.
And a lot of people do not really, they believe it, but they don't live in that concept with that concept.
What up, TL? So tell me what he said.
You're just gonna keep spitting and pointing, right?
No, I can see it.
Can't see it. Blind.
No, I can see it. It says
When you
it's that
said,
light. It's the light.
can I read it?
Yeah, read it.
Can
Good.
I?
Very good.
When you tell little boys that all little girl like princesses or to treat little girls that what
He said we tell little
to
boys,
treat
little girls like princesses.
okay, then turn around and tell that girl to be independent, that she don't need no man for nothing. Then later on tell them to date and get married. Results vary. That is very true.
That's a fact.
And that comes from single parent households,
Mm-hmm.
because you got the single mama talking to her daughter,
Who
telling
may
her, don't rely on no man, da, 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 da.
and she
That's
may or may not be bitter. She may or may not have taken accountability for her portion of why the relationship split.
been an abusive relationship. That's
Could
what
be.
it was.
Absolutely.
The daughter is watching that, so
Yeah.
she already built her own thought process. Man,
Absolutely.
I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that. Because all men are like this.
That's a fact. And then it could be dudes
So it comes
who are unhealed because of situations they got into with women who weren't necessarily who they're supposed to be with, but they look good. They let their lust take over logic, and now they're bitter because it worked out in the way that they didn't want it to work out. Now they telling young boys, "Oh man, bros before hoes. These hoes ain't loyal." What hoe do you know is you? If she's a hoe, you know what I mean. You probably should have picked the hoe. I just just to, just make that. It's a little common sense. These hoes, you don't want they expect her to be loyal.
people want love, but they're not healed enough to give it.
That's a fact. That is facts. And then people
So what do
right.
y'all think about this? Many relationships are built on need woo, and not purpose.
Yeah. You better go to church. Go ahead and go to church. Go ahead and go to church.
So many relationships are built on
Gigi, what up?
need,
Mm-hmm.
not purpose.
Mm.
What y'all think about that?
What do you think? And I'll tell you what I think.
There's a lot of women out here that they go on a date, and if that man cannot afford to pay for her nails, her hair, buy her kids McDonald's, she don't want him. She don't want to deal with him. A lot of women say, "Well, what can you do for me that I can't do for myself?" A lot of relationships are built on that.
You know, you're right. And this is what I tell young men. And I got crucified for it because I put it on Facebook one day. But this is what I tell young men. If you are dealing with a woman or potential somebody, you should, when you ask her to go out the first time, don't say it's a date. Say, let's meet up and let's go somewhere
So why you ain't do that with me?
because it was a date. It was something else. We had talked for like 2.5 months before we went on our first date. How many weeks was it?
It
It,
was only like 2 weeks.
it was longer too.
It was sad.
Yes, it was. I wish we had still had the damn shit. So I
Maybe
can tell you, well, it's close to a month at least. But I was comfortable enough with you to talk to you on the phone for hours and hours. You fucking fall asleep on the phone and get back on the phone and talk for God. At the one time I was cutting off dates so we can
I was too.
yeah, so and we sat and talked on the phone. So that's what I'm saying. Like we had developed some other shit. But if you're just trying to get to know somebody, many could not afford
Many
the
could not
things
afford the
she
things she
now.
now requires for dates. Many men have not prepared their finances and wisdom. True. Maybe you gotta read every
Okay, so
but
what was I saying?
see,
Okay, I remember.
keep trying to read
All
it.
right, so no, this is what I tell young boys, or young men when they're meeting somebody who they potentially want to, build something with. Make your first go out somewhere, and you let her pick a spot. You let her tell me where you want to go, and let her set the tone on how she treats herself, and also let her know you'll go Dutch. Because if she can't afford where she wants to go, then how can she expect you to?
Mhm.
If she can't afford it for
Well,
herself,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
get it.
you know what I mean?
We shouldn't go nowhere without her own money anyway.
And then I'll say this, but if she decides to, if she tells you, okay, I'm cool with that, and she wants to go Dutch, make sure you bring it up to pay for both because she's already shown you that she's not there just for a meal that she really wants to deal with. So now you pay for everything once they get there. You know what I mean? You make sure that you pay for everything. But if she's willing to go Dutch, that means she at least sees something in you enough to be able to say, okay, well then yeah, I kind of do like him. So if he don't have it and I have it for myself and he can pay for him, then I can pay for me. But then you make sure you bring it up to pay for both. So you just wanted to show her, you just wanted to be able to see if she liked you for who you were, and then you can let her know, listen, baby, I got
Mhm.
you. You know what I mean? You don't want to jump out the window and leave with the money because they're only going to want what's advertised. And then I say the same thing to women when they're out here on Instagram with their titties and ass out, and they get mad when the man asks to hump. You know what I mean? Like you advertising sex. What else do you think he's gonna want? You know what I mean? Just like dudes leaving with money. This is what I got, girl. I got all this cheese. Oh, yeah. You're gonna attract a whole lot of rats.
Hmm.
And then you're gonna get mad at
Nowadays, you attract men.
that is crazy work. But that's what it is right now. You know what I'm saying? Um, so
That's crazy.
and nobody's being taught how to love.
Hmm.
That's an absolute fact. Nobody is being taught how to love properly. I'm gonna let you start that. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
That too.
Hold up. What do you think women are being taught improperly as far as what love in a man should look like, or what loving a man should look like, and what to expect from a man who is loved? We think is taught improperly in that.
Again, it stems from their them being taught how to be independent. Have your own this, have your own that. Don't don't want for anything from another man, from a man, which is understandable because of what they've experienced. However, just like, okay, I'm trying to go somewhere.
Go ahead, baby. I'm here for the ride.
Because
I'm riding.
I grew up in a single mother with single mother.
As did I.
Um, my father, he my mother's widow. My father passed away when I was 2 years old.
Hmm.
Right. So growing up, it was just basically me and her until I was 8. Then I had my siblings. She had boyfriends, and whatever. I was never taught about how to save money. I wasn't taught about how to. There's a lot of things that I teach our kids now that I wasn't taught. And I see the difference. Uh, like with our son, he's very um smart financially.
I'm not worried
You
about
don't
him
have
at
to
all.
worry about him.
I'm not worried about him at all.
Raven, she's holding it down.
She's gotten a hell of a lot better because I was
Got a whole
concerned.
fiance. She got her whole little family. They've been together for years.
Now we
And then the other three we working on. They still in limbo with the certain things, and then we still have the youngest one. We ain't gotta worry about yet. But yeah, I'm gonna say this. Like this is a lot of things that you want your children to not experience that you experience because you want them to be better, right? So me and Raven have had conversations, even when she and her fiance were just kind of growing into their relationship. Why are men such babies? Stuff like that. And I think we were together at that time, but we would have those conversations. And I would tell her, like, you still do this, you still do this, don't do this. Because Raven she's the one that will be like trying to prank him all the time. And I'd be like, no, Raven, don't do that. It's just certain things that I would, just tell her. I'm not going to tell her, no, you shouldn't need or want from him for nothing. I'm not going to tell her that.
You know, same thing I told Brooklyn. I told Brooklyn, hey, he's your man with a purpose, and is on his way to fulfilling his purpose. You start stacking your paper to help him in the event he trips and falls. And if that's somebody you're trying to build something with, make sure you have it for yourself and be able to have it to help him on his journey to be the best he can be for the team. Now, if he isn't being a good teammate, it probably would be a good idea for you to start looking for another team or stretch out on yourself. You know what I mean? But I want them all to know that they're more than poom poom, and a man is more than a wallet. The conversations I've had with Bryce, and I see how he moves. That's why I'm not worried about it, because he and I have had some intimate grown men conversations, and he has taken heed to a great deal of the things I've said. Now he don't answer my phone calls, but I'm really not too concerned because I know the things that I showed him he's implementing.
And that I'm so grateful for it because you came into his life at a very peak moment. He was 8 years old. And so at that time, that's when he's really like starting to pay attention and he was learning. He paid attention to the way that you treated. And to this day, he'll still open doors and he's very considerate.
Pull out chairs, and see, he also understood when I told him, um, the most liberating thing you could do in your entire life is not give a fuck what nobody think about what you do to be happy. And he has consistently been on that, and I'm not mad at him at all. So
Grateful.
I appreciate you, man. um, so how do we come together again? That's 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 where that's what needs that. How do we come together again? How can we build a foundation together again? How can we as a people come together? Men and women, and stop being in competition. Get, yeah, I'll let you start it all.
You always let me start.
Absolutely, ladies first.
I think the main thing, as far as like relationships, any marriage needs to have a God-centered marriage. People
Amen.
need to strengthen their faith again and
Amen.
pray every day. Like,
Amen. Without ceasing. And even if you don't pray,
whatever your faith is,
right. And even if you don't pray every day,
strengthen it.
at least just let the Most High, whoever you believe in, know you're so thankful. If I don't pray every day I say, God, I'm so thankful. And thank you, Jesus.
I've
Oh,
seen a difference. I've seen a huge difference between the first part of our marriage, our separation, and what I learned during that time, and coming back into the marriage with a greater, a strengthened faith.
focus and faith. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it should be accountability on both sides too. Yeah, I don't think it should be one sided. And the problem with accountability is it makes you have to look at yourself unfavorably. And nobody wants to look at themselves unfavorably and look in the mirror and be like, you know what? That shit was on me. That part was on me. Nobody wants to do that because then you have to deal with the backlash of that. Now, once you figure out that portion was on you, was was the last relationship that part was on me too. Yes. Now you're going down a rabbit hole, and that's now you have time to reintroduce yourself to yourself. And see, that's what I did during our separation. I had to reintroduce myself to myself. That's why my accountability level right now is on 1,000,000. I can hold myself accountable for my own growth. I'm not perfect. I'm never going to be. But my mission is to be better every single day. And I'm going to slip, and I'm going to fall, and I might say some shit, I might do some shit. But at the end of the day, if I'm focused on my growth, I have to be able to hold myself accountable. And I can't lead and be a leader without being accountable for everything I do and how I maneuver. Um, and there's a significant of men that don't want to be held accountable and want to point fingers at the women they have chosen to be with. You chose her, and vice versa. There are women who I heard, like I said, I've been roaming these TikTok streets, and I heard a woman say the other day on one of these panels on TikTok that man carries the seed that impregnates his lead. My question to her, and I got railroaded for it. I was like, well, that is true. However, if he didn't grape her, she allowed him to go in raw and let on. It's on both of you. It's not just on him. Now, it's on him that he left, and that's some sucker shit. But you have the authority and power to either keep the child or not. That fault is on you and you alone. As men, I will never ever, not ever tell a woman what they can do with their body. I can't have a baby. So you know what I did there? Shut the fuck up. As far as that goes. But I'm not going to readily allow somebody to blame a man solely for something it takes two to make happen.
Mhm.
The pregnancy takes two people to make it shape.
Mhm.
So that's accountability on both sides. Everybody has to be accountable in order for growth to happen. In order for us to really come together, there has to be some sort of accountability for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then another one is learning each other's needs. The love and respect dynamic. Women need love. Men need respect. That's how men feel love. They, if you respect that man, he feels love.
Mm.
That man will give you all the love you need in your life if he feels respect. I promise you that. If he can come to you in his most vulnerable state and you respect that and you don't throw it back in his face,
Mm.
and you're able to be the woman he needs in his time of need, that man will flip a fucking house over for you. You know what I mean? Like you are in the midst of that now. Because we are right now in such a better place than we've ever been in our marriage, based on the way I lead to garner the respect that you give me to be able to continue to mash the gas. You know what I'm saying? Like we need that. Women need that love. Women need to feel love. Need that.
Yeah.
So you tell me
Both sides need to just get it together.
there's no lies and no lies at all.
Men need to get it together. Women need to get it together. Both need to just get it together and stop being in competition.
And like,
Trying to do too much.
so what message would you like to give the ladies to tighten up, to stay in one place where we can become one again? And I will give the men the same thing.
Mm, what advice can I give? I'm still learning my damn self.
But well,
Uh,
from what you've learned thus far,
Shoot, I wake up every day and I'm still learning. But every single day I'm praying. I'm praying for my strength. I pray for the house. I pray for you. I pray for everything that we have, everything that we don't have. Women need to strengthen their faith. Women need to learn how to pray out loud. Um, when it comes to finding love, stop looking for it.
He'll find you.
It's gonna find you.
Let him find you. Let him find you. Please let him find you. All right. So for the gentlemen who want to build and want to be the best version of themselves for the woman they've decided to be with, one of the main things I would say to you is to take some time out and your man lead and be the supporting cast. Let your let your man lead and please be the supporting cast, play your role, cover it
Pardon.
always. So the come talk about JJ, you still need to come hang out with us. You be bullshit shit. Come get on your ass in your inbox. So but um for the gentlemen out here that really want to build with someone, this is what I'll say to you. Make sure you take some time out to learn your partner. Learn what she needs. Learn what she's been. Learn how hard it's been for her to be in survival, if she's had to be in survival. Learn what she's been. Give her the opportunity to let you let her see you in a light to where she can relinquish some of those things that she had to do for herself to survive. Show her that you're there to be able to lead and lead properly based on the needs of the team. And I promise you, the woman you'll get after that ultimately change your fucking life, change your trajectory, change how you look at shit. Because now when I go on these TikTok panels, I'm speaking from a perspective of someone who has been through the motherfucker with his partner. And she, I see so much, I see such a difference in her based on the difference I've had to see in myself. I have had to take the reins, and I shout out my homeboy Bilal because he hit me with something one day, and we was talking because he's one of the people I go to, and we bounce things off each other as grown men. And I hit him, and I was like, "Yo, such 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 such," and he was like, "You know what?" He gave me his advice, and he was like, "And you may not be as good as a leader as you think you are." And I had to pause because I was like, "Oh shit, maybe I was not so as a leader as I thought I was." And where I am now, I am definitely a far better leader than I used to. Do I still need growing? Absolutely. And there's no day that I'm not going to not need growth. And I think that is where we land on coming together. We all need to take inventory on our faults, our our trials and tribulations we've been through, our traumas, and seen how they have affected the way we think about things now. We have to let a lot of things go in order to rise to the occasion of being the best version of ourselves. It's like watching a spaceship take off. You know, when the spaceship takes off, they have those two boosters on the side, and they shoot them off. When the spaceship takes off, the two boosters shoot them up fast, as far as they can go, and then they drop off.
Mm-hmm.
Once those boosters drop off, you out here manning it by yourself.
Right.
Once those boosters drop off, now you have to look in the mirror. What's my flight plan? Hundreds of thousands said it best. Spaceships don't come equipped with rear view mirrors. Whatever was, was. You can't take what was into what is or what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do, you'll find yourself by yourself and unhealed and blaming everybody but yourself. And that is us for the night.
No, it's not.
What?
Hey,
We got some more stuff to do?
let's to read this thing about naked marriages real
Okay,
quick. And
well,
then end it
okay,
with
okay. Say that.
the nerve.
You didn't say that. Just wanted to-
Said that earlier.
yes, but you.
You ain't been listening. You haven't listened to
No,
me.
no, look. A good reminder.
Where's tequila?
No, a good reminder would be.
Whenever I can get a chance to.
But I didn't stop you when you're talking. Okay, go ahead.
Bruh. Okay.
Nope.
Lord. This is about naked marriages.
Naked.
This is naked.
Titties and ass everywhere.
This is God's original design and of marriage. Not just physical nakedness, but emotional, spiritual, financial, and relational transparency. A naked marriage is one where nothing is hidden. No secret conversations, no guarded hearts, no private worlds that exclude your spouse. It is a place where truth is spoken gently, where struggles are shared honestly, and where both husband and wife choose openness over image. So today, choose transparency. Open your heart, your thoughts, your purse, and your life to your spouse. Because intimacy is not built on perfection, but on truth fully seen and still fully loved.
Amen.
And that is our show for today.
Absolutely. And we'll be on next Friday, same bat time, same bat channel. Uh
Thank y'all for tuning in.
Absolutely. That was dope, man. Yeah, I dig all that.
Mm.
Butt neck, ashy knees and ankles.
Good night. Love you guys.
Love y'all. Later.